Hey, what's happening? What's popping, guys? We're gonna be starting a new series on the channel, but just quick update with me. I just actually got back traveling, doing a little traveling across the United States. Doing some fun things for the summertime. You gotta live it up, live wild, and things and stuff. So the series that we're gonna be starting now is building around the megas in OU, and then kind of off branching into the lower tiers. But we're gonna be starting, standard stuff. I know, but just knock those out of the way and then get a little bit more creative as we go. So we got a pretty creative team that I built just now, and after doing a lot of testing, it is really fun to use. So it's going to be built around the Mega Altaria. So I decided to go a little bit more of a bulky Mega Altaria, and there are so many different Mega Altaria sets that you can build around, but this is just the most effective in my eyes for right now. So yes, Mega Altaria is the fluff dog himself. So return, very simple reason why we have return. Now if I was a little bit more offensive, like if I was adamant with earthquake and double edge and things like if I was like a lot more offensive, I would carry double edge. And if I was like full on bulk, then I'd probably run like maybe body slam is another option. But I think return, it's very easy just to put on return, just because it's very easy, very simple. There's no need to get paralyzes on other teams. So another interesting thing about this set is that it's carrying the heal bell. So something traditionally on Dragon Dance sets is that they carry earthquakes. Earthquakes hit the Volcanions, earthquakes hit the Heatrans, the that, steel types essentially. And we don't have a way to hit steel types. That's fine, because the rest of our team can deal with the things that Mega Altaria does not appreciate. Dragon Dance rules very simple. Dragon Dance, so we can just win. The speed here is to be able to outspeed the Mega Manetrix and the Mega Lopunnies after one Dragon Dance, and without having to Dragon Dance, it's having the 271. It can outspeed timid or jolly base 70 mons like Bisharps. So technically, like, we have a Bisharp counter right here, but it's just nice to have like very fast speeds. And then the rest is dumped in the attack, because though I could put a little bit more in defenses, there's no need, because you want to also be able to use Altaria outside of having to Dragon Dance. You want to put your opponent in a position where it's like, alright, do I stay in and just kind of make sure he doesn't Dragon Dance, or do I switch out risking the Dragon Dance? Lots of very scary things with Altaria, but I like having the option, not having to always Dragon Dance with it. So if you look at some of Mega Altaria's weaknesses, we have things like a Moonguss has just recently bumped up into the OU tiers, and people are starting to use it, Moonguss, more. It's a very annoying mon. So things like Scizors, things like Skarmories, Heatrans, bulky fairies really are problematic to Mega Altaria, so we need checks for those, and that is how I built my team. So next is Magneton, and it's incredibly standard. Originally I had a Magnezone on the team. Now Magnezone is in the OU tier. It's bulky, it hits harder, but it doesn't outspeed a very specific thing, being Starmie. Starmie is a menace, and yeah, I like, technically Apollon can somewhat deal with Starmie, but not really. Like, I just really wanted to be able to outspeed a really fast Starmie, and technically Raikou, but like another thing about the Mega Altaria is it has a lot of HP invested in it, and here's why. Mega Altaria can deal with so many different things in the OU tiers. I mean, this is just very simple things that can deal with. Like, for example, Mega Charizard. Almost every single team in the OU tier doesn't have a Charizard check. In my opinion, like, Landers is not a Charizard check. Now, Hippo can be a Charizard check, but like if it has Willow, then it's not really anymore, because it will just, Hippo will eventually lose to Will-O-Wisp, bulky Charizard. But the Mega Altaria set that I have, any variant of Charizard gets beaten by Mega Altaria. Next, you know, things like Breloom's, Keldeo's, Latias, Raikou. You know, Raikou's HP Ices generally do a lot more. Actually can 2-hit KO if it's not fully bulky, so that's really, really nice. Like, things like Icy Winds do nothing to Mega Altaria. If it wants to try to burn you, you have Heal Bell. Another thing that allows you to be a little bit more aggressive with the Mega Altaria is because you have the Heal Bell. If they try to paralyze you, or if they try to status you with the Rotoms, which is another check that Mega Altaria can do, you can Heal Bell. I just think that Heal Bell adds a lot more utility. Heal Bell means that you're walled a lot more, but it creates a lot more opportunities as well with the team. Yeah, I mean, I just think it's the best option. So next we have Infernape. Now Infernape isn't seen like ever in the OU tiers, but like I think like it's crazy good in my opinion in the OU tiers right now. I decided to go special. Like, I kind of hate special Infernape because like you're depending on hitting Fire Blast and Focus Blast. Like you cannot run Flamethrower. Flamethrower just doesn't do enough. You need to not only have Fire Blast, but you have to also hit Fire Blast. Life Orb, because it hits reasonably hard. Like base 104, special attack isn't anything too well, but like added on like this, the typing is what makes Infernape. And if we look back at some of the things that can deal with the Mega Altaria, Infernape beats every, well, not really Clefable, but like, or Dancey, but like Infernape beats like all of them, and can, like, more specifically a Moonguss and Heatran, and you know, just kind of slack off. It's also a Bisharp check. I mean, like, Infernape can deal with so many different mons in the OU tier. I decided to go Will-O-Wisp on here because the only offensive coverage you need, I mean, technically you can run something like HB Ice, but I think having Will-O-Wisp just adds a little bit more utility to the team. And slack off, like, you can easily slack off versus Ferrothorns, and even if they do try to paralyze you, like, Heal Bell is in the back. Next is, if you notice, like, Excadrill, literally 6-0s. Earthquake is a massive problem to this team. So Landorus, nothing too creative here. Talonflame is also incredibly scary. So Talonflame check, Excadrill check, gets up, Stealth Rocks, U-turns. Actually, it has a lot of other like utilities as well. Something like Mega Beedrill. Like Mega Altaria cannot outspeed the Mega Beedrill with this spread, so like if you do happen to see one, like, it's a good Beedrill check. Next is gonna be Gengar. Now Gengar is, in my opinion, top 5 wall breaker right now in OU, because Shadow Ball hits like everything for neutral damage or super effective damage. The only things you don't really hit are things like Weavile, Tyranitar, and technically Chansey, but like this switches into Chansey, not vice versa. Another thing that this does is that it deals with the bulky fairy types like Clefable, and you know, you can just taunt it, pain split it up. Now you don't have poison coverage, but like you don't really need poison coverage because you whittle it down with Shadow Ball. Fairy types are not doing too much to you. Like, if they do have something like a Dancey, which we'll be going off in a second about, but like, other than that, like, it deals with like all the fairies. Paired up with Magneton, you don't want, like, Magneton is a lot more frail, and you don't really want Magneton to be taking too many hits, because like base 50 HP is not too well, but like Gengar is just a massive wall breaker, and it's really fun to use. And last is going to be the Apollon. So I decided to get a little bit creative here, dive down a little bit. We needed something to get rid of the hazards in case we face against, you know, a full stealth rock spikes, toxic spikes, this and that, and we needed a defogger. we have Ice Beam check. Like, Ice Beam kind of ravished this team. I mean, Kyurem is also like one of the biggest problems of this team, but like we have mons that can outspeed it, like these three, like a Dragon Dance that could outspeed. So the reason why we have Shukaberry now, technically, if the Kyurem does not have Fusion Bolt, because they don't always carry Fusion Bolt, they should, because like Azumarill and stuff like that. But you know, if they don't, if you can catch them, and you know, having Shukaberry allows it to also deal with the bulky Landorses, the bulky Garchomps. You try to go for Earthquake, and you live those, and you can get off a Scald Burn maybe. But this is mostly for Diancie, because Diancie cannot touch this, and you just kill it off with the Flash Cannon, Scald, whatever. I mean, even HP Grass. This can also somewhat be a Volcanion check, because they can't freely, like, and this is another thing, like, technically, unless the Volcanion has Sludge Wave, like, you can beat Volcanion with this, but it's best not to, to be honest. Most of your team can deal with Volcanion as well. So my favorite thing about this team is that there are weaknesses to the team, but of course every single team is going to have certain weaknesses, but you can easily work around the weaknesses. You know, certain matchups for certain teams, it's unwinnable, but like with this team, in my opinion, you can win every single game if you outplay your opponent and you don't get hacked. It has the potential to work around the weaknesses that it is given, and it has uncommon mons that can, you know, kind of throw your opponent off guard, like Special Infernape. You know, maybe they have something for Magnezone, but they don't have the speed necessary to outspeed the Magneton. Having this Gengar set just like blows back any. I mean, even like this thing even does well versus like Stall, and Gengar historically hasn't done too well versus Stall because it kind of just roosts it off and this and that. But like, this comes closer to it KOing Mega Sableye, but like you have Altaria for Mega Sableye, so this team does well versus Stall, versus Balance, versus pretty much all the teams. It's not the best team, you know, in Aurus OU, but it can deal with a lot of variations of different teams. And that being said, we're going to be looking at a couple replays of what this team can do. So at team preview, something that I immediately noticed this game is like, holy crap, Gengar, like what are the switch-ins? This is exactly what I'm talking about. He just clicks Shadow Ball and gets a kill. Another thing is that having the Landers, we do actually face, you know, opposing Landers. I kind of hate how like Landers checks Landers, but it does, and Landers puts in a lot of work. Even checking the Magneton or Magnezone, freely going for Volt switches, and just getting up the rocks is very good for pressuring the opponent. Having Infernape, it actually speed ties with Keldeo, which is whatever. Like we have a Keldeo check, but like Infernape isn't doing too much because he does have a Lottie, but I mean it potentially can put in work, but like as we can see, the majority of his team does outspeed the Infernape, but he doesn't really have too many switch-ins to Infernape, I guess, kind of, because, well, other than the Lottie, it's actually kind of funny because the Magneton can actually trap the Magnezone, and technically Magneton does beat the Magnezone because 2 HP Fires does kill him before he kills you. And as far as the Mega himself, just looking at the team, it does very well versus, you know, checking the Keldeo, checking the Lottie, because you can easily switch into Psyshocks from a Latias. Not really a Latios, but a Latias is fine. And like, if it's defensive Landers, like you could easily set up on this thing, and the Mega Altaria really pressures his team right off the bat, because I also could have Earthquake, and that just kind of 6-0s. So I couldn't afford him to switch into the Kyurem. Now his potential leads were probably going to be, in my opinion, like either the Kyurem or the Landorus, but like he decides to like lead off with Beedrill, and that's not a problem because like I have a Beedrill counter, hard wall, and I can just get up my rocks. So I don't really understand why he decided to lead off with his Beedrill, but I guess he just instantly wanted to get off his Mega, and I didn't necessarily need my Infernape, but like I pressured, you know, I could be rocking HP Ice, but I decided to go for Burn because like he has nothing for Burn. I actually expected him to go Lottie, but that's fine. We go a double down, and he could have Icy Winded my Altaria. I wasn't Mega'd at first, so I thought that was the best play to make, and Keldeo was just kind of a nuisance. And so, as we said, I actually beat this 1v1, but he crits me, so very, very annoying. But I just come in with Gengar, click Shadow Ball, and I get a kill because it outspeeds the Landorus, so it can easily 2 KO this. And we're looking pretty. Another thing we do have to keep in mind though is like watching out for Scarfed Kyurem if he is Scarfed. But that shouldn't be too big of a problem. Every time he goes Beedrill, he should knock off as he does go for knockoff. Get rid of my Rocky Helmet. Like every time he goes Beedrill, I just go Landorus and rinse and repeat. And I'm gonna U-turn because I have no reason not to U-turn. Like he should go into Lottie, and here I just fire off a return and pretty much get a kill. But then he reveals the Healing Wish, gets back his Beedrill. But once again, I mean, I still have the Landorus, and I decide to sack off my Altaria simply because he has 3 mons that outspeed the Mega Altaria, and I can't really Dragon Dance up, so go back out in the Landorus because I can pretty much get a kill with Earthquake here for the most part. Get rid of his Magna Zone as he decides to go out with Kyurem, and even if he does have Fusion Bolt, like I'm just trying to sack off my Apollon. That is the correct play to make as he goes for Ice Beam, revealing that he is most likely Scarfed, but I'm just going to go for Flash Cannon because it just got a kill. And now he can't lock himself into Outrage, so he locks himself in a Fusion Bolt. Because I don't see Life Orb, I'm assuming he is Choice Scarfed, as yes, he is Choice Scarfed, and I win the game. And if he wasn't Scarfed, I still had a Gengar in the back that just killed him with the Shadow Ball. So we're going to be going over Game 2 here in a second. Alright boys, Game 2. The mindset that we should have using this team. This team right here absolutely destroys my opponent's team. And I notice while using this team often is that you don't necessarily have amazing team matchup, but you're not in a bad position ever. For the most part, the only thing that's really threatening about my opponent's team is he has a Starmie, which I realize, like, holy crap, Starmie can potentially, if it has Thunderbolt, can potentially just ravish through this team. At this point in time, I did have the Magna Zone because I did do a lot of testing with the team, editing this and that, and I decided that the Magneton was better than the Magna Zone, and with further testing, that was the case. You're not going to be seeing Starmies too much with like Thunderbolt, but it is still something to consider. If he is also leftover Starmie, which is probably the more common set, you know, with Natural Cure to deal with Keldeo, that's actually what I guessed him to be. Like I guessed him to be a Mega Gyarados with a bulky Natural Cure Starmie, because like if you notice about his team, Keldeo 6-0's his team. So as you get better with team as you get better as a battler with more experience, you understand what mons they have and what kind of sets they have based on their team. So obviously that is the Mega because there's no other potential Megas, and yeah, Natural Cure Starmie would make the most sense to me because like Keldeo just ravished, like he clicks Sacred Sword like 6 times and wins kind of, but as we see, he's actually Thunderbolt Starmie, spoilers. I decide to lead off here with my Landorus because I just want to get up rocks, because he's probably going to lead off with maybe, you know, Ferrothorn, Chansey. I mean, even Darmanitan. Like Landorus had a very good matchup versus the majority of this team, bar like a couple different things, but I see him that he leads Starmie. Like I think I have an immediate switch, like that's like no problem. Another thing about what I like to lead off with is like if I have a defensive switch into something, I easily just don't really care if they lead off with, you know, a Starmie at this or that. If I have, like, even if he did lead off with Ferrothorn, like, and if I led off with like my Altaria, that's not a problem because I have Magnezone. Another fun mechanic about this team is that his only check to Mega Altaria is his Ferrothorn, and that's amazing for me because I can just trap that thing. And yeah, I mean, Mega Altaria just 6-0s him, essentially, because it walls his whole entire team, bar Ice Beam, Starmie, which I don't think he was even Ice Beam to begin with. So if I get rid of the Ferrothorn, I win. So I'm going to be playing that. I'm going to expect my opponent knows what he's doing, and I'm actually probably going to keep my Altaria in on the Ferrothorn, expecting him to switch out because, like, I have a Trapper. So anyways, we see the Hydro Pump, and immediately, like, I'm like, holy crap, he's offensive, and that did a ton of damage. And then he reveals Thunderbolt. I would have been in a lot of trouble this game if he was able to kill me right there, but he's not, thankfully. It came down to, I'm not sure what the damage rolls were, but we live those, and we get a massive amount of damage off on the Starmie. So he is Ice Beam. Another really good thing about this is because he's Life Orb 3 attacks, Rapid Spin, I can just get up my rocks, and the Starmie is pretty much dead at this point in time. And my Magnezone actually does not outspeed the Starmie, but I can live any one hit, and I can just Volt Switch, and he has nothing to stop Volt Switch. Is now the Starmie's pretty much dead because I'm gonna get up rocks here, as I actually thought he went in the Starmie to get, you know, one more kill. Doesn't go on his Starmie, decides to Dragon Dance up, but I'm just gonna U-turn because if he were to instantly attack me, well, if he had Ice Fang, like, I didn't want to go into my Mega Altaria. Like, I wanted to also scout. If he did have Ice Fang, he'd probably go for it, maybe just a basic Waterfall, I don't know. Decides to Dragon Dance up, which is alright play, as I'm able to just U-turn out. He goes for Waterfall, and he actually makes he makes a bad play, and he gets rewarded for it because he flinches me. But whatever, I'm just gonna roost that off. And so here, it's not necessarily 50-50, but like, it's a lot of mind games here because it's extremely obvious. Like, I have an Infernape, I have a Magnezone. Staying in with Ferrothorn is actually very risky, but he decides to stay in because, once again, it is very difficult for him to switch out, just in case if I did switch out, or if I did stay in with Altaria, like, he has nothing for it. But he Thunder Waves, so I mean, maybe he maybe thought I was going to switch into Infernape, but like, if anything, I was going to switch out to Magnezone, and he decides to Thunder Wave. A little bit of a weird play there, but it works out for him. Is I'm going to go out into my Magnezone, and I'm going to trap this thing and just kill him off, which now, like, I just win with Mega Altaria. That's pretty much the thought process here. And he did get the Para versus me, but I can just Heal Bell that off against this very simple thing, like the simple fact that he went Chansey, that is perfect for me. And then he reveals Wish, so I'm forced to go for Return because, like, I can't afford him to go back into Starmie. As I'm actually not going to reveal that I have Heal Bell yet because he may not think I have Heal Bell, but I do, as we show that off right there. And now I'm just going to Dragon Dance up and win the game, as he does have more Toxics than I do have Heal Bell, but like, I can just kind of set, if I set up like 2 Dragon Dances, recover a little bit, like, I just win. He has nothing to stop this Mega Altaria, as we stated before. I'm going to click Heal Bell here, because even if he were to go Starmie here, I outspeed and kill, as his only chance of winning was with the Starmie, so I understand that play, as he decides to stack the Chansey. So he made, a series of very good plays, as I beat this, but I'm just gonna get off a roost because Gyarados cannot touch the Altaria. As here, I'm just going to, does he have the Glare? No, does not have the Glare, thankfully. Decides to get Leaf Storm damage off, but like, that does nothing. And my opponent decides to quit the game because I can continue, like I can Dragon Dance up versus a superior. I like he had nothing to stop my Altaria. He had no real more answers to, I mean, have the win condition. So he decides to forfeit, and that's for game 2. If you guys like this series and want more, make sure to write in the comment section that you like the series, and if you have any other suggestions, let me know. Until next time, I'm signing out. Peace.